They say we are what we eat. But what if what we eat isn't really food at all? What if, for decades, the very definition of food has been secretly rewritten, not by biologists or nutritionists, but by lawyers and lobbyists? What if the sickness plaguing our world, the diabetes, the heart disease, the cancer, isn't just bad luck, but the predictable result of a system that legally feeds us poison and calls it food? If this sounds like a conspiracy theory, I ask you to stay with me for just a few minutes, because the truth is hiding in plain sight in the legal documents that govern our food supply. And understanding it will change the way you look at your plate forever. If you believe we deserve to know the truth about what we're putting into our bodies, please subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us create more content like this and fight for a healthier future. Let's start with a simple question. What is food? Biologically, the answer is clear. Food is any substance that provides nourishment, repairs our cells, and sustains life. It's the energy and building blocks our bodies need to thrive. But legally, the definition is shockingly different. Legally, food is often defined simply as anything intended for human consumption. This small, seemingly innocent change is the crack in the foundation of our entire health system. It divorces the word food from its biological purpose. Under this legal framework, a substance doesn't have to nourish you, repair you, or sustain you to be called food. It just needs to be packaged and sold according to regulations. This loophole is the golden ticket for the ultra-processed food industry, or big food. It allows them to create products loaded with refined sugars, industrial seed oils, and chemical additives, products that offer calories but little to no actual nutrition, and legally call them food. Think about that. A box of sugary cereal, a frozen pizza, a can of soda, these are legally food, in the same way an apple or a piece of wild-caught salmon is. This legal distortion has created a bizarre reality. We live in a world where we are surrounded by things that look like food, are packaged as food, and are sold as food, but they don't function as food inside our bodies. Instead, they act more like slow-acting toxins. They disrupt our hormones, trigger chronic inflammation, and pave the way for the very diseases that are overwhelming our healthcare system. Let's look at a real-world example. News reports from across the globe highlight a staggering rise in type 2 diabetes, especially among younger populations. We're told it's a complex issue tied to lifestyle and genetics. But what if it's simpler? For years, we were told that a calorie is a calorie. The message was that 100 calories from a soft drink are the same as 100 calories from almonds. This idea, promoted heavily by industry-funded studies, is a cornerstone of the legal definition of food. It focuses only on energy quantity, completely ignoring biological quality. But our bodies know the difference. The 100 calories of sugar from the soda spike your insulin, promote fat storage, and contribute to insulin resistance. The 100 calories from almonds come with fiber, healthy fats, and micronutrients that support stable blood sugar and overall health. By legally equating the two, the system effectively hides the cause and effect relationship between industrial food products and chronic disease. It makes it seem like your failing health is your fault for eating too much, not the fault of the product for being inherently harmful. This leads us to the second part of the system, Big Pharma. When a population is systemically sickened by its food supply, who benefits? The industry that sells the treatments. The rise of ultra-processed food consumption has moved in lockstep with the rise of prescription drug use for metabolic diseases. It's a perfect, self-perpetuating business model. One industry creates the problem, the other sells the solution, and it's all legal. The system even inverts reality. We see warnings on raw milk, a nutrient-dense traditional food, labeling it as dangerous. We see campaigns against red meat, a food that has sustained humanity for millennia. Yet, the factory-made concoctions of starch, sugar, and seed oils receive health claims and are promoted in our schools and hospitals. Real food is made to seem risky, while industrial calories are presented as neutral or even heart-healthy, if they're low in saturated fat. This manipulation of definitions extends beyond just food. Look at the term health. It's no longer defined as the optimal functioning of the body, but rather as the absence of a diagnosable disease. Or even more conveniently for the pharmaceutical industry, it's defined by numbers on a lab report. If your cholesterol or blood sugar is above a certain threshold, you are unhealthy and require a drug to manage your condition. The goal is not to restore true health, but to manage symptoms with lifelong medication, creating a permanent customer. The concept of prevention has also been co-opted. True prevention would mean eating real, nourishing food to prevent sickness from ever developing. But in the current system, prevention often means taking a drug to lower a risk factor, like a statin for cholesterol. The focus is shifted away from the root cause, the diet, and onto a pharmaceutical intervention. Consider the agricultural subsidies. In the United States, a vast majority of government farm subsidies go to a handful of crops: corn, soy, and wheat. These are not primarily grown to be eaten as whole foods. They are the raw materials for the ultra-processed food industry. They become the high-fructose corn syrup, the soybean oil, and the refined flour that form the base of cheap, profitable, and disease-promoting products. Your tax dollars are directly funding the production of the very substances that are making you sick. The government is subsidizing poison. Then there's the recent push for sustainable food solutions, like plant-based meats and lab-grown proteins. While framed in the language of environmentalism and health, many of these new products are just another form of ultra-processed food, created in a lab from protein isolates, industrial oils, and a long list of additives. They fit perfectly into the legal definition of food, while continuing to distance us from the real, whole foods our bodies are designed to eat. They are the next generation of profitable, patentable, and potentially harmful food-like products. So, what happens to a 65-year-old who has lived their entire life in this system? They followed the official dietary guidelines. They replaced butter with margarine. They chose low-fat yogurt loaded with sugar. They ate their heart-healthy whole wheat bread. Now they're on multiple medications for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and type 2 diabetes. The doctor tells them it's just a normal part of aging. Their family tells them it's genetic. No one points to the decades of consuming legally defined food that was, in reality, a slow poison. This is the deepest pain point, the feeling of betrayal. The realization that you did everything you were told was right, and it still led you to sickness. The solution isn't another pill or a new government program. The solution is to reclaim the definition of food. It's a rebellion of consciousness. It starts in your own kitchen. It means rejecting the legal definition and embracing the biological one. Ask yourself, does this nourish me? Does this build my body? Or is it just an industrial product designed for profit? We need to see the system for what it is, a legal framework that has sanitized poison, medicalized normal life, and created a cycle of sickness and treatment for profit. The first and most powerful step is to reject its premise. Choose real food. Food that rots. Food your great-grandmother would recognize. An egg is food. A steak is food. An avocado is food. A box of colorful Oz made from refined grains and sugar is a product. By changing how we define food, we change our reality. We take back control of our health from the industries that profit from our suffering. It's not about a fad diet. It's about a fundamental shift in understanding. They have been feeding us poison and calling it food. The moment we see the truth, we reclaim our power. We can't change the laws overnight, but we can change what's on our own plates, and that is where the revolution begins. Thank you for watching. Please share this video if you found it valuable. Let's get this truth out there.